Welcome back to the Hishaku Hideout, a weekly podcast where we talk about the latest chapter and everything Kagurabachi. I'm here with Dice.
What's happening?
And today we're talking about chapter 88. So Dice, starting chapter 88, we see Izaru beginning to talk to the surveillance guy and where the Hishaku members are at, which basically we end up jumping over there, which is Uraha. Which, by the way, man, let me just say, my boy Yura is like gaining so many points lately. Like, we see him rarely, but now it's like he's just doing like dope shit every chapter we see him.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's definitely taking center stage, right? Going on the offensive. I think Uraha even kind of gives him credit for that. I mean, gives him credit might be a bit of an overstatement, right? But he definitely kind of points that out.
Good call, yeah, because you're 100%. The fact that you're saying like, oh, y'all ran out of cards to play or tricks to pull, so now you're doing your dirty work yourself, and you're like, dude, this is what I do. You know what I mean? Like, but we'll get to talking about that. I got a little ahead of myself, and you're like, this is the Hishaku Hideout,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
But we do jump back and see the elite troops pictures again. But it's funny now. Originally, the one picture had the dude that changed the way he looked. I forget the little Kaminabi dude, Kudo. He made himself look like Kudo. And then the girl with the big ears that you love so much, Dice, and those ears. Hokuzono just cropped them out the picture, and then it's the Kamunabe, and we get the Hagane or whatever his name is from the Cloud Gouger Force, plus 3 new silhouettes. And these silhouettes look goofy as hell, by the way. I guess Hokuzono learned his lesson of like introducing these like cool designs for characters he's just gonna like kill off panel.
Don't sleep. Yeah, it could be some fire ass designs.
That one dude just looks like a rock. The one on the left in the middle is like just a big circle.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think it's an accident. You said how the previous, there was, some of the insiders that were revealed to be, traitors were cropped out in these panels. I don't think that's an accident. I think what we're seeing, in these kind of silhouettes is pretty much, guys that we're going to see revealed to be traitors, or insiders.
Yeah, good point. Because, I mean, yeah, the fact that they're silhouettes, that could just like be a contrast to when we got shown the elite forces the first time. They were all like shown, and of course 2 of them were traitors, as you pointed out. But now we get these silhouettes. I don't know if that's Hokuzono just playing around with like trying to keep us guessing. Because we'll be able to, like, when we see a dude that looks like Humpty Dumpty, we know it's the homie in the on the left middle panel.
Yeah, well, for a second, just real quick, I thought it was the dude that we see in the panel above that one, because now I'm waiting for those guys to those the only characters we really still haven't met. We just met Kiri's her name, right? And we have met obviously the dude that was part of the anti-Cloud Gouger squad. So I think this confirms that the dudes in the first panel are kind of good guys, and we have yet to really meet them. And then the rest of the guys are, like you said, who knows what Hokuzono's.
Yeah, the silhouettes are going to be evil. Like, the silhouettes, we don't know who we're meeting or this, that, or the other. Like, we don't know what role or importance they will play, but I think it's fair to say that the fact that he makes them silhouettes, but he still put the first guys in the top left panel, makes me think that, man, there's more the second group of traitors. There might be a lot more of them in the Kaminabi than we originally thought. You know what I mean? They might have more influence. It's not just maybe like, I think Kaminabi Yoda. Maybe it was just him and his like elite group, because we do see like Kiri is kind of like, Kiri's under Izaru's group. So all the Kamunabi member higher up seem like they have their own elite force. So if this is saying that there's 3 elite forces that are, traitors, what if that means there's 3 higher ups that are traitors?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even. I don't know.
You know, because we do know that they were split on Kunashige, so we already know that they're not like in unison on everything. And I mean, that'll have to just play out, and we're gonna just have to let that unfold in front of us. You know, we mentioned a little bit about Izaru. We always cook him for his sideburns, but he seems like a pretty dope character. Like his role that he plays, he's an asshole, but you know, he's the asshole you need, you know, like, because he just seems like he's trying to do what's right. He has a strong sense of justice.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he definitely gets some point, for having Shirikai's granddaughter, as part of his squad. I think they both get some points for that, really, because we've talked about the type of character Izaru's kind of shaping out to be, and I think we've both come to respect him since he was first introduced in the story. And this chapter we obviously get to know Kiri quite well, and it's just kind of like a nice, I can only imagine what those interactions would look like, because she's definitely tough.
Yeah, she's probably threatening to kill him and he's threatening to kill her, like when they're in meetings. It's like, but that's what, like, he's cool with that, but it's just like what do you doing it for? It's like you're making the right moves or whatever. Because I mean, he threatened to smoke Chihiro right there in the meeting room, like nothing. And just because Yura stepped up doesn't mean that they're like at odds with each other. It just means Yura's like trying to stop him. Like, not that they're necessarily like enemies, because it did seem like they might have been just like, or he's the enemy, or like the asshole that no one likes. But I mean, he seems respected, and but I want to see him fight someone for real, because he's throwing out threats and his little beads at the guy that looking at the camera, basically. Like the little security guard at the mall, that like he ain't used it against nobody for real. So I'd like to see him fight. But going to Yura, though, we do see a cut back to Yura. I love how Yura's like, he saying Uraha wasn't supposed to be alive. That damn Samura.
Well, it's crazy, because the first thing I thought was like, I think that's the first time we see like Yura not really account for something, like not really see something coming, take something into consideration, which, hey, completely makes sense, right? Because we know that Samura evolved his abilities without even having Tobimune on him, and that was like, it was stated as such like a crazy thing that I almost don't blame Yura for not really, like I said, taking that into consideration. But it's just interesting because I think it's the first time we just see him, even if it's ever so slightly, just kind of like I said, just miss a step.
Yeah, unaccounted for.
It makes it just look a bit
he's not
vulnerable.
sweating.
Yeah, he's not sweating either way.
Yeah, he's like that. I think that's what I like about Yura, is his composure. He's the same person now as he was swinging on a little play set back during the right after Rakuzaichi. Right in the beginning of the Sword Bear assassination arc. He's that same person, you know what I mean? But this, these moments, I don't know, and this is just me. We didn't really talk about it, but I got the feeling that you might have also felt it. The tone and atmosphere of the chapter felt kind of like a goofy action movie in some sorts. Like not like a comedy like it has action. I mean, like an action movie that just has like humorous moments. Like that's how it kind of felt.
Campy.
Just the way, campy. That's a good word. Like Uraha with the speed lines. He's like Kiri, and then when he says, "Who is this? Let me introduce her." It felt very like made for anime.
That's I was gonna say that. Like reading this chapter very much felt like watching an anime episode, and it's that whole Kiri exposition dump, just completely like right in front of the Hishaku. Like it's nothing. That was so funny. I swear to God, I kind of had to go back for a minute. It seems like I do this every 3 chapters with Kagurabachi. It's just there are some moments that for different, for a variety of different reasons, just have me kind of going back and be like, okay, yeah, that happened, but the story's only better, because of So she gets an awesome introduction, man. Kiri gets an awesome introduction. Um,
Yeah, she came down with aura, but she did it just to be wearing that goofy ass outfit,
I
man.
mean, we
That's
get
like,
baby
God.
Kiri as well, so she's instantly gonna be like a fan favorite. You know?
Oh yeah, she's adorable. I mean, then she has that big ass sword. Like that bitch is huge. And I love how they're like, no one's heard from, the grandpa already. Like, he texts me and just
I
shows him. And it's like they had this like sweet relationship, but he's, she wants to kill him, and he's the type of person to be like, you can try, like you can't fuck with him.
Yeah.
That I really like that. Like just short, like Hokuson is good at like 3-page character dynamics that make you like really enjoy a character. Like he's very good in short form character.
Man, I just thought of this, but you just know she had those you've seen that one meme where it's like I'm tired, grandpa, too damn bad. You just know they had moments like that like all the time. So
100%. That's probably, and then I like how Uruha is like the master permitted us to babysit her often. Like he's saying like, oh, they wanted to watch her. Uruha is like very respectful, because he's saying like, oh, he permitted it, like he allowed us to watch her. Damn well they didn't want to watch that kid. He told them, but because that's his master, he said, he says it like it's a good thing, even though he said, hey, watch my granddaughter, or you will get clapped. And they know, like, okay, he's not lying.
Uruha said, like, he's left him half dead 4 times.
Yeah, like, dude, it's insane.
She's a fucking Nepo baby. So I just thought of that as well. So.
Nah, son, she ain't no nepotism for Kaminabe, bro. She gets out the mud, I bet. I guarantee you, she's like, I mean, her entrance literally starts by slashing a dude up like into a cube almost, along with the floor above.
Well, getting serious for a bit, I do like how that was, because I don't know about you, but for a second I thought that was Uruha's sorcery. It's just a quick second, right? Because he's like, oh, but even then I was thinking like, is he just surprised because of he hasn't seen his sorcery in what is it, like 18 years? So I like that whole misdirection of just for a second, and then she pops out, just insane moment.
I like that motherfucker like, Kiri, like he's going insane.
His eyes twitching, and Kiri's like, who?
Yeah, it's like, bro, calm down.
But I think only
Hakuri,
what is it? The transformation dude is dead. Yeah, I believe the chick.
Yeah, your Elf Bay.
Elfier Bay, yeah.
Hakuri just like does, dude. Hakuri might be an idiot.
Might.
Like, bro, like I be trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because he be coming in clutch.
I love him,
but
bro.
I mean, that boy's a dummy. Like he's a little.
He's got Yuji energy for real.
Dude, for sure. Like, what's that? Like the panel where the dude uses Mako. That motherfucker Hakuri's just looking like, like he's like, huh? Like a little smirk. It's like, oh, bro, what do you mean you can fight? But then he's like, I can fight, but not really.
Let's cut him some slack. He's around some killers right now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Uruha just like banged out the young dude though, like crazy. I mean, that dude's not done though. He's probably the card. That dude's probably willing to throw his life on the line for Yura, and that's why he's saying like what he says at the end. But Uruha's Koen, the Crimson Recital panel, like, dude, Hokusono loves Uruha. He gives him like this gas, like up close art all the time, and his little tattoo spreads. I like that design. The whole time wasn't just like, oh, that's just a character design. Like some characters have like a bow in their hair at all times. Like, no, like that tattoo has something to do with his ability.
Yeah, and this, what I'm about to say is, most is probably because we never really saw him with Kamiyuri, but he definitely feels like a whole lot more of a force now than when we first met him in the story. And like I said, I definitely just attribute that to the fact that we've never seen him with Kamiyuri. So I can only imagine, how more of a killer that dude must have been in his heyday.
I think he might be more savage of a killer right now because he's always been shown to like kill, like no problem with killing people. You know what I mean? Like he'll kill, like even when he just left the spring, he was at his like most vulnerable state because like they sacrificed themselves. He didn't have Kamiyuri. So it's like he felt the most helpless there, and he's still like no different people, like no thought about, you know what I mean? He'll take people's lives. But here, like I think it's just the first time we see him with purpose. Like before it's just him trying to stay alive, but he already died. Now that like weight is off of him. So what we're seeing is Uruha as like a person with purpose.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, so much purpose that, like you said, he completely just kicks that, kid just right through a wall. And you had predicted this last episode that they were gonna fight. So I saw that, and that was 100% intentional by Hokazono after having just completely glazed him in the previous chapter by having Yura call him the strongest member. So I definitely, like, I saw that and immediately thought like, oh fuck, like this dude's gonna do something insane now, like he's gonna do something. Yeah, it's just ain't no way he's gonna get disrespected like that. And just
now I gotta say this. Yeah? I DM'd you about this after last episode, and it hurts me to even think about this. If it does turn out for like the Hishaku to just get like dealt with like the samurai, like if the samurai is dead, but if they all just get like fucking almost like no diffed, and when they actually have their like one-on-one fight, like think about Hirohiko's getting embarrassed, Kaguri's like getting like dicked on, and Kaguri just did what he could. He fought an enchanted blade with a regular sword. But you know what I mean? Like, so far, the Hishaku's only impressive, like, fighting performance was really Yura versus Chihiro, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It does feel like more often than not, they're getting their asses handed to them. It's just, it's just because of how they move that they've really kind of gained this aura, and this how we perceive them, right?
It could be they're like holding back, they're like saving everything for the moment. It could be that, but I'm hoping that kid puts up like a really, really good fight.
Yeah, I think he will. I genuinely think he will. I'm not a fan of his really, but
I like him for some reason. Got the Nanami tie. Or anatomy-esque tie. What does that mean, Dice? What is that? You would. There's very got implications in that.
Oh man, I'm not saying nothing. But
plead the fifth. And then but I ain't gonna lie, Uruha does have like more of presence now. He felt like he just kind of blended into the scenes at first because he really was more of a it felt like he was like a supplemental character to Samura for a minute. But I mean, he's obviously his own character, and he's really good. I like him. He's probably in my top 5. But he does feel like he's just fighting with a purpose now, to like kind of harken back to what you were saying. And he's impressive, but I think what's even more impressive is the fact that Yura is still keeping up with him. Like Yura pulled a sword out of a book and blocked an AI White Purity style.
That shit was so cool. How Yura pulled that sword.
Dude, shit.
I loved seeing that. And into what you just said about Samura and Uruha, I think, what it really did feel like for the moments that their character arcs were kind of overlapping, that Samura, like you said, he was kind of like the main course meal, and Uruha was just kind of like this little side arc. But I think that what we're going to see moving forward is, as Samura's kind of character arc comes to a close, I think that's when Uruha's going to shine, and his arc will kind of be brought maybe not towards the forefront of the story, because we have other sword bearers to get into and there's already a lot going. But I just think we didn't see the peak or the bulk, the best of what of his character arc, what's yet to come, really. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Like how Samura's like story is kind of wrapping up. Uraha's is starting to ramp up, and it's like his new purpose. And he gets to look to kill the people the people that laid their life on the line for him, like directly for him. And gave him a second chance. He's looking those killers in the eye currently. Well, Hirohiko technically killed them, but the master, like the leader. So
yeah,
I really do like where they're going with Uraha's character. But I have to ask, I don't see Samura and Uraha staying in the story forever. Just give me a percentage. Like, is it 60-40? Like 60%, like Samura's gonna die, 40%, or who do you think is more likely to die?
I definitely don't think both are gonna die, and I would say something like 70-30, favoring Samura dying.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe even more. But yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, no, that's fair.
That's what I think. One thing I do, but I do like the emphasis that like that we get on the tattoos, right? Or at least the markings, whatever they are, on Uraha once he's activating his sorcery. Because not only do we clearly say it when he says Cohen, but we see it kind of later, right before he slashes through Mako, right? And we see in the later panels that they retract. So I think that those markings, we should be looking out for them, because they might be a good indicator of when Uraha has his sorcery activated. And I bring this up because I remember, during the whole Shinjuku showdown, a big thing was kind of looking at Samura's hands. I mean, not Samura, Sukuna's hands, to kind of know when he was or wasn't doing the world cutting slash. And I don't know why I just, made that connection, right? But that might be something to look out for in future Uraha fights.
No, but that's a good point though, about like looking for the markings. And as you talked about the markings a bit, it made me think about that could just be his sage mode.
That's dope.
Man, and then how like Yura pulled the sword out of that book, which Best Jeanist was the one holding the book. So Hokuzono made it like pretty clear that there's like importance in that book, or maybe it's just cool paneling. But I think that book is kind of like, maybe their hidden inventory in a sense. Who knows what else they're going to pull out of that, because it seems, kind of like their own storage. I mean, the fact that he could pull the sword out of the book and react to Uraha and block him was pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, because we know Uraha is going fast as hell, right? So I didn't even think about that, nor the book itself. There's this idea that this book might come in handy for, whatever they're going to be doing later on is, not far-fetched at all.
Yeah, I mean, just not to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
We don't know how crazy the world can be with like magic devices. Like, think about the Datenseki stones. Like, they could just pull some of them out of there. They reserved a couple.
Oh no! I mean, if we see something like that, like I want to know what type of book that is, because that would be pretty crazy. I
mean, the book itself. I mean, I guess maybe that might be that could be Best Jeanist's sorcery.
Right? Yeah, it could definitely be related.
I mean, the fight. The fact we talked about Yura blocking Uraha, which is just impressive to Yura, because I mean, we know he's a physical beast, because Chihiro, that was amping himself with Cloud Gouger, it was a weakened Cloud Gouger, to be fair, but Yura was dominating Chihiro. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't sweating fighting somebody with a weakened enchanted blade, even though Chihiro's like still murdering 98%, 95% of the cast with like that.
Yeah, I mean, even now, right? Even if this isn't a Uraha wielding Kumayuri, the fact that he just went through Mako like it was nothing, pretty much. Like, Yura was on the other end of that, right? So it was a
Yeah.
crazy blow either way, and I think we see later on in the chapter, like that Mako sorcery. I don't know if it's that the bald dude kind of like with whatever he's doing in the ground just revives the thing, or if it just wasn't done after Uruha just went through it. It's kind of tough to say.
Maybe it splits up, like after you damage it, it splits, so it's like it's not
Yeah.
infinite. You have to defeat the sorcerer to get rid of it.
That would be crazy, right? And that would make that dude pretty formidable to.
Well, depending
to
how
say the
strong
least.
those things are, because I mean, if Hakri is like one tapping them, and I mean after a while it would get you would eventually just get overwhelmed. But with Uruha there, like I don't think he's sweating that fighting that bald guy. You know what I mean?
Well, I was gonna say I don't even know who Uruha's gonna be fighting, because I'm not 100%.
He's all over the
sure.
place.
Yeah, I'm not convinced he's gonna be fighting Yura. I really do expect that kid to come back, right? You told me before we started recording, Hishaku looks like she's dipping in that second to last page. Kiri's getting ready to defend her. Kiri, it looks like she's gonna be the one facing off with the bald dude, if I had to say. But let's talk about this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I wonder if she's gonna die, Kamunabe, Kiri. Cause it seems like she like got like a lot of her like just like her bio or her like character information, like a character page and like a notes in a volume, all like front loaded in like 1 second. Because even Uruha's like, that's a great explanation.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Like right now, she doesn't give me that vibe. If anything, I think she's gonna be a fan favorite for a minute.
Man, I'm edgy, bro. Someone's got to die. It's been a while.
I don't disagree with that.
I mean, it's not that saying it like hurts the story, but just me, I like those moments, man, where like seeing like Chihiro put someone down for good is like always it's always like one of those special moments, and like people may take it as like, oh, you just want like shonen meathead, you just want to fight. No, like there's so much like nuance and so much like just like quality in the way Hokuzono delivers these, like executes these like final moments. These important characters, their final moments is always impactful. Like that's what made Kiora like really really stand out, is the fact that he died as Kiora Sazanami. You know what I mean? He didn't die as like the getting brain controlled by the Magatsumi, and he like his character will at the end was just so impactful. It stuck with me, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I 100% agree with that. Really, it's also one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to Samura's death. But yeah, I think those final moments are
Samura specifically.
Yeah, I do agree. Like I said, I think Hokuzono handles those moments, those final moments really well. And this is also this story has been kind of been memed for being a bit edgy at times, and it feels like we really haven't gotten a whole lot of that recently. So we'll see, but speaking of death, and people dying, we see at the end that Yura says we have a card, the death match. So could this finally get that, bring us what you're asking for? This
I'm thinking I'm making a theory. I'm stamping my theory. 2 people, I'm not saying which 2, it could be 2 Hishaku people, but 2 people that are currently in that hallway are gonna die like soon.
Okay, there's like what, 7 to choose from? 8?
8. And they're all technically important. I mean, like the bald guy less important than like Yura and Uruha, but obviously Hakuri's not gonna die. But I can't say if Uruha's 100% safe. I can't say if Kiri's 100% safe. Yura is safe in my eyes, but I mean, I am a Yura stan, so like, but everyone else, like the young dude, I can see the young dude dying. Maybe him and Yura take each other out. I'm just saying, I'm not making a concrete. I'm just saying, I do think 2 people are going to die in that hallway.
Yeah, it is tough to say because I guess I could also see a scenario where everybody ends up kind of like
scattered.
Yeah, and what's the word? Just
dude, they get BFR'd, battlefield removal. Like, what if the Swordmaster gets his hands on the Magatsumi during all this, and then the malediction just starts to spread, so everyone's like just chaotically like trying to like escape, but also people are still trying to kill one another? That would be insane.
Yeah, that would be some like real end game type of shit,
They have to like hide out. They have to go to like, oh my god, that was. I mean, I don't think that's happening. I mean, this story is taking so many turns recently where like I just don't know. Like, I want Yura to be the final villain, and I think I still have my like. I'm staying on business that he will be the final villain. But like now it does seem like his motivations have changed a bit. Or like it seems like we're getting more light shed on him that lends to the possibility that he is connected like a strong connection to the Swordmaster. You know what I mean? Like it's just like heavily implied. Like maybe it's his son, maybe it's a connection through sorcery somehow. I don't know, but I think it's amazing. That might be the most important like plane that Hokuzono needs to land for me, is the execution of the Swordmaster. Like whatever it is, if the Swordmaster is going to be the final villain, I'm still cool with that, but I just want to see the execution.
Yeah, no, I mean for sure. I think that's I think that's what everybody wishes for, and a fan favorite series or just a series you really like, right? It's can at the end, right? Can that plane be landed, in a successful manner?
The Master Swordsman, his story could wrap up in 5 chapters. Hokuzono's playing it to where he's like pushing the line really far, but then he backs up and fills in a space, or he will just slow. Like he's shown to do all kinds of storytelling, so you just don't know where he's gonna go with it. And when I say he could wrap up the Swordmaster in 5 chapters, that could mean the Swordmaster dies. That could mean the Swordmaster gets freed but doesn't get the Magatsumi right away. You know what I mean? It's just, I just want to see where he takes it. And I got, like we always say every episode, what's the thing? Let Hokuzono cook.
Yeah, no, I mean for sure. And like Hokuzono being unpredictable isn't anything new. I mean, even right now, like I was about to get into this whole deathmatch thing. You and me, before we started recording, we discussed the idea that this might not even be Yura. He could be fronting, talking a big game about like maybe that strongest Hishaku kid is about to pull up and we're about to see his sorcery.
Yeah, it's not depicted on panel.
Yeah, he's not pulling up any hand signs or anything, right? So I am very interested to see in like where Hokuzono kind of takes this, because I can't see a situation where that kid pulls up again. He's the one fighting Uruha like you had predicted last episode. And then Yura goes off to do his thing, and Hishaku as well, and I wouldn't be able to predict as well which Hishaku member is likely to die here. Maybe the bald guy, because he seems to, like I said, be the one that's going to go up against Kiri, and she seems to have been hyped up pretty well, and he would be kind of like a nice, we just met him really, so there's not a lot there.
Bro.
I don't know.
If she does like a, AI, like the AI black purity style, or, like if she just pulls out her own like derivative of the AI white purity style, which is why she doesn't have a plaque, and also why she wants to kill her grandpa, because he doesn't recognize her as a master of the AI white purity style, because she doesn't have a sheath to like compound the energy to like release. But maybe she can do it a different way, but he doesn't recognize it. So that could be a cool like added origin story for her.
Yeah, I mean, one of the last 2 things I really wanted to get into before we wrap up this episode is really like, even though I everything leads to the fact or the idea that she's not a a practitioner of the Yai White Purity style. She's about to wield her blade like it in that last panel. Like that is very much the Yai White Purity style grip or stance, whatever you want to call it, towards the end. So I would love to see her have like her own kind of like you had said, derived form, right? Like an extension of that technique, because yeah, her name wasn't up in the plaques, right? It was Yori's, Samura's, and Uraha's, right?
Yeah, man, and it's gonna be very, very interesting to see. Like maybe she like uses the ground, like the kinetic energy from dragging the sword down to like propel it forward or something like that, since she's so small. Who knows? But I think she is gonna go crazy, and I think it's gonna be. It's always fun to see like Hokuzono's different choreography. That's probably one of my more like my favorite things is like his choices in fights. Like Yura threw his damn cut off arm at Chihiro. You know what I mean? Like just it's like he just does things, but like he integrates them so well in like the tone of the moment. But I mean, one thing I do want to point out before we end is Yura even mentions that they're just stalling. Like what? Like the only person unaccounted for is Hishaku.
That damn Hishaku, man. He's sneaky.
he can just pull up in his tree somehow, like, and he's got the roots in there, so maybe he can just pop in close to where the Swordmaster is. What if we get him versus Izaru in a fight? That would be cool. Sorcery versus sorcery.
Ooh, yeah, two vets.
Yeah, and right. Izaru has shown he is skilled. Like the fact that he is respected at least in some regard. But I mean, I don't know. I just don't know where it's gonna go. I want to know what Yura exactly means by like. I know he's saying they're just stalling or whatever, but the only thing they could be stalling for is the other trader to make their move so they could do their thing, or Hishaku to make his entrance.
Yeah, or something with the Master Swordsman. We did see him.
The Hishaku go to the Master Swordsman is what I was referring to, like, or maybe like you're saying, just a Master Swordsman himself.
Yeah, like we saw him stand up a couple of chapters ago. I wouldn't be surprised if this is, gonna lead to finally like these two moments kind of connecting, right? And what's gonna happen after this, right? But now that we're really talking about this moment between Uraha and Yura, when Yura essentially says that this is all to cause like momentary confusion, we see Yura's eyes go black, right? And Uraha picks up on it and he says you, and we kind of talked about it for a bit, because it really does feel like he's talking to the Master Swordsman. And I don't know if that's like a very small detail, that Hokuzono's just essentially throwing like a bone to confirm that what we've been seeing, like we saw with Kiora, during the end of the Rakuzaichi, is the same thing that we're seeing with Yura. Like the Master Swordsman has been very much able to essentially possess Yura. So I don't know if it's that sort of like softly confirmed, or if it's like we always say, a clear misdirection. Like, does Uraha really know what's going on here, or is he just taking a stab in the dark, right? Because he could very well be wrong.
You just blew my mind.
Why?
Something so simple that like I've thought about it and like I've used it to like connect other things, but I haven't really deepened on it. We're just seeing what Kiora Sazanami, like Kiora Sazanami was already dying when he got his hands on the Magatsumi. If Yura just touched the Shinichi, like the sheath, when he was like young, this is all it is. It's just a mind control.
Yeah, it very well could be. That's what I'm wondering.
We already seen Kiora, like, he was in like a chaotic state in his moment. But if Yura is like almost accustomed to being mind controlled, he can like enact his own like, his own personality. But he's like, he's getting compelled by the Swordmaster.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I don't know how that fits. I don't know how that fits, but that's got to be what it is. And I mean, it kind of, I ain't gonna lie. I mentioned this to you, but I think Yura, the chapter reading of Yura is great. I think he's being enhanced every time. I mean, he's my second favorite character next to Chihiro. Like, I really, really like Yura. Like, bet. But I don't know if I love the direction they're taking with him. You know, like being like just a spawn. You know, being a mind controlled person trying to get the sword master out instead of being his own like man.
Yeah, like his having more of his own agency,
identity. Exactly. Yeah, good point. Good way to put it.
Yeah, that's what we have yet to see, man. It's that connection, right? Because you and me have talked a whole lot about what the connection between Yura and the sword master could be. You know, we have this crazy theory that we can really get into later if you want, about like, you know, it being like a very much a Kunishige and Chihiro relationship, right? Between the sword master and Yura, whereas like Yura is the sword master's son, and you know, essentially Kunishige, you know, what Kunishige did led to his father maybe going crazy because of the Shinichi, and essentially Yura creates this or develops this disdain for Kunishige, right? Like essentially he ruined his father's life and never really owned up to it, which is why he gets him killed.
Yo, I just made a crazy connection.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, or y'all know if y'all watch this, I'm the type of person where if I think something's possible, I'll present it. Even if I don't believe it'll happen, I'll still present the possibility. I'm not afraid to do that. Let's look at the genetic makeup of Chihiro's group in the Hishaku. Yura and Chihiro, you know, like Yura is on the same path. Yura was on the same path Chihiro was, you know, like getting revenge for his father. Then we have Shiba and the Hatshaku, which are more like the elder, like they can seem like teleport places and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're like the elder, like more skilled sorcerers probably. Azami and the samurai guy. You got Hiyuki and Shishaku. You got Best Genist and Hakuri. You know what I mean? It's not an exact 1-to-1, but there's a close, like almost like template of like their teams starting to like look alike in terms of like roles and stuff like that. Or maybe I'm just tripping, but we also have like the Masumi under Chihiro now too. So like he has his own little Hishaku in a sense, because we already know he will go to war with Kaminabi if it comes to that for the swords.
Yeah, and those could be like potential matchups as well. I see what you're saying. But yeah, ultimately to kind of wrap up what I was saying is, you know, I think it all hinders on how, you know, like you said, how that relationship is essentially executed. You know, because if Yura is just a stand-in for the sword master and essentially gets thrown away once the sword master comes into play and he isn't really relevant, then yeah, it would be a bit disappointing for the people who were looking forward to seeing him develop, right? But I really do think Hokazono has something up his sleeve, even if there's like a connection where Yura seems to really be doing this for the sword master. I think Yura will have his own role in the story, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him betray the sword master once again. Maybe the Shinichi is the big bad, as many people have theorized in all this. Maybe that sword is just poison to anybody that comes near it, right? And that could be a theory that feeds into this, right? Like anybody that comes near the Shinichi, the master swordsman, is maybe able to you know, possess them as well, like you alluded to. So
what if Chihiro wields the Magatsumi at the end? Like that's his goal. Like he can't break it, so he has to wield it to like try and revert it back. And that's like the final battle.
I don't think Chihiro will wield the Magatsumi. I think he's breaking that shit. I think he's destroying that shit.
I don't know if he's gonna be able to, man. That shit seemed durable as fuck, like Toby Mune.
Nah, man, he's gonna break that shit for sure.
Yeah, I got faith in Chihiro, but I ain't gonna lie. Chihiro, seeing him like fight like his final battle being internal, and then like Kunishige comes in to like help him like win over the true realm, like revert it back to its like normal state instead of the chaotic state somehow.
Oh well, I'd love to see a situation where like he has to get his hands on it and he has to fight it back. You know?
That's what I meant. Yeah, like and
yeah, no, for sure. That would be cool.
Kunishige appears in like the little mental battle to help him, like to just calm down and just tell him about his mom. Like, tell me how much that would hit, bro.
Yeah, because on the other end, it would be like the sword master trying to get into his head, maybe even revealing more shit that we don't know of.
Yeah, because he was his right hand, Kunishige's right hand man.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. I'm once again, I always like more often than not, I really am excited, and looking forward to what's next because Kagurabachi just does that. I don't know if you have any. Yeah. I don't know if you have any theory you want to get into. I don't know if you want to expand on that Yura Swordmaster theory. I just kind of really threw out there, but I didn't really, elaborate too much on. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
We could hold that for like another video or something. We talked about doing maybe adding discussion videos, like rarely. Like I wouldn't anticipate on anything like that. But if you see any like videos like that, that's kind of like an after hours podcast type of thing. But we'll get more information on that later. I want to dice. I kind of like interrupted you a couple times. My bad there. I got excited. I just want to clear the air on that.
No, it's all good, man. This story, chapter to chapter, just gives us so much to talk about. And there's sometimes we see a panel and there's like instant theory, instant connection to something else, and these discussions are always fun to have because of that. So
yeah, and I'm bad. I'm always like in my head about like, oh, what's the possibility of this? And then if there's some plausibility to it, I'll DM Dice. I'm like, Dice, hear me out.
Yeah, bro, we've discussed so many headcanons as well. So,
yeah. But this was a fun episode. I heard some people weren't super big on this chapter. I don't get it.
Well, I was gonna say last chapter was so good, man.
In comparison.
Yeah, like because to me this chapter isn't as good as last chapter, but it's a great follow-up chapter. It kind of slows the pace down just a bit, but there's still a lot happening. There's even more reveals, and there's still a lot to look forward to. So, I don't dislike this chapter by any stretch. I'm not sure why people would.
Yeah, I can see like they want that pacing to continue, but I think that, like you said, it's a good slow down a bit, and we're still seeing like you mentioned earlier in the episode, Yura like dealing with something he wasn't prepared for, and he didn't sweat. It's like a good sign of character for him. Yeah,
we're getting crumbs like that, right? Like Uraha's sorcery, that's not a crumb, right? That's something big, but the Hishaku, bald Hishaku sorcery. So we're still getting a lot of stuff,
Yes, sir. All right, I think that'll do it for us.
All right,
guys. You have a good one. See you next episode. Peace.